So the South Carolina DNC is going to release the South Carolina debate rules. They're releasing the debate rules. So just off the top, I'll get into more details, but for the immediate, just Michael Bloomberg, that's what everybody's on. Is Michael Bloomberg going to show up for the Wednesday debate? Is he going to show up for South Carolina's debate the week after? So the rules for South Carolina is pretty much the same for the rules for the Nevada debate. So Nevada debate, South Carolina debate, they have the same rules. Now Michael Bloomberg, you have to get a delegate, at least one delegate. So 5's already qualified, or you have to get 4 qualifying polls that show you at 10% or more. So you have to have 10% or more. Bloomberg already has 3 showing him at 10% or more, so he just needs to have one more qualifying 10% or plus poll to qualify for Wednesday's debate. Wednesday's debate's only 2 days away, right? Today's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Today's February 17th, 2020. So, yeah, that's coming up this Wednesday, 2 days from now. He only needs one more qualifying 10% plus poll. And to qualify for South Carolina, you have to have the same thing, 10% for DNC-approved polls, or 12% for South Carolina specific polls. So that was, okay, so I'll get into that a little bit more. Donald Trump is a piece of shit. He is just dog shit. And so is Amy Klobuchar and James Carville. So fuck you, James Carville, Amy Klobuchar, and Denham Temp. Richmond, California, Denver, Colorado. Bernie Sanders is just, he's getting around. He is being a little bit of a slut. He is going, you know, to Denver. He's just pimping himself out to the people of Denver, Colorado, Richmond, California, Texas, Carson City, Nevada. Bernie's going to make Donald a one-term president. He's going to win Texas and Colorado, maybe even Alabama, Tennessee. Now, Donald Trump thinks that climate change is a hoax, but Bernie Sanders believes that Donald Trump, the person, the individual himself, is a hoax. Nevada caucuses are already turning into an Iowa caucus shit show. You got to vote this way, that way. You got to do it perfectly. Nevada caucus, they got an app too. It seemed like it was a caucus calculator, so what the fuck? Y'all can't even do basic goddamn math in Nevada? They do have the shittiest education system in America. Like, they're on the bottom when it comes to education. So maybe that's, you know, not a good idea to use all this technology. The PDFs and the iPads they can do, but passwords, Google Forms, and, you know, caucus calculator, I think we're asking too much of the people. The people should be able to do this. It should be, you know, basic algebra, basic addition, basic simple addition and subtraction. So, yeah, Banana Republic, this, you know, good. I'm glad that, you know, people are actually paying attention to all these elections. The Middle East is looking at America's caucus system and thinking, like, damn, they need to declare peace in the, you know, in the Nevada and Iowa caucuses. They're looking at, maybe we should just go very basic and just start vote, you know, by smoke signals. I mean, we got to make this so basic that it, you know, just an absolute moron could vote. I'm also curious about how the CIA, is it legal for the CIA to run a Manchurian cyborg? Is it? I think they can run a Manchurian cyborg for president if they want. You just have to be born in America, so you'd have to be assembled in America. And then you have to be 35, so I guess assembled, and then just wait 35 years. So a citizen, born here, 35 years of age, and elected, right? In other news, Pete Buttigieg, he took a vacation one time to Swaziland, right next to Somalia, for, you know, a dictator. He's going to, for his summer vacation. Pete Buttigieg says, you know what? I need to relax in a authoritarian dictatorship of Swaziland. Why not go to Cameroon? Why not go to North Korea? You know, marijuana is actually legal in North Korea. De Blasio is now endorsing Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders just has a badass cast who's, you know, endorsing him. De Blasio is endorsing him, and then you have Ariana Grande, who has registered 20,000 voters, which is very, you know, sophisticated and mature when it comes to electoral politics. God, if Ariana Grande knows what, the fuck is up, then why can't anybody else figure this shit out? So Ariana Grande and who else? De Blasio and Killer Mike and, just a whole slew of rock fucking stars. So Nina Turner and Tulsi, right, at one point, but she said something bad about Thursday. Anyways, so de Blasio says on Bloomberg he's spent the last 6 years having to reverse all the damage that Bloomberg did. Bloomberg is such a right-wing piece of shit. He's against the poor. I just heard on the Rebel HQ by Emma Vigilant. So Emma Vigilant, she had pointed out how he had said that regressive taxes, you have to tax the poor because you want them to live longer. You got to make sure you ban soda because the poor people can't make those choices themselves. Government needs to get into people's lives, and he is elitist. He's out of touch. She is absolutely right with everything. It's incredible that I think anybody would ever consider that piece of shit whatsoever. De Blasio says for 6 years he had to undo all the damage Bloomberg did. Stop and frisk. He had to restore the trust in the community with the police. He doesn't believe in Bloomberg's apology. Bloomberg waited, 6 years to apologize for stop and frisk? Now that he's running for president, now he's sorry. Okay, de Blasio, and frankly, I don't believe Bloomberg. So Chuck Todd, he's got a shit mouth. So does James Carville. He's got a shit mouth too. So fucking corporate media turds, political hack fuck sticks. Fuck you, James Carville. Fuck you, Chuck Todd. Amy, Liz, Mike, and Pete all suck. So Bloomberg only needs one more qualifying 10% poll, so it has to come out today, tomorrow. That's it. He needs a poll to come out today or tomorrow that shows that he's got a qualifying 10%. Then he can debate on Wednesday if he's got the balls, if he's brave enough, if he's got the courage to actually, come out from behind the curtain there, Mr. Oz, Mr. $70 billion to air, tiny little. Come on, Oz. Come on out behind the curtain. Let's see you and stand up next to other individuals. Your peers, your competitors, right? You're all politicians because you're running for office. So February 25th, that's 4 days before the South Carolina primary is when the South Carolina debate is going to happen, right? So 2 days from now, you got the Nevada debate, and then 5-6 days, you got the Nevada caucus, and then you have February 25th, 4 days before South Carolina's primary. You're going to have the debate hosted by CBS News and the Congressional Black Caucus Institute. To qualify for February 25th debate in Charleston, South Carolina, the candidates have to hit a 10% in 4 DNC-approved polls or 12% in a South Carolina-specific poll or win 1 delegate from the first 4 contests: Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, or Nevada, which means 5 candidates automatically, immediately qualify for South Carolina's debate. Creepy Joe, Creepy Pete, Creepy Amy, Creepy Liz, and Great Bernie Sanders. February 4th to the February 24th. So he's got up until tomorrow to get that poll, that 10% poll Bloomberg does, if we want to see him in the Nevada debate. If he doesn't get qualification, he could use that as an excuse, and then there'll be another week for him to get one more 10% poll. And if he, gets it, then he gets in the debate, or he is eligible to get into the debate. But I wonder if he'll do it. I think it would show cowardice if he doesn't. If he's able to get into the debates, they change the fucking rules. So he donated all that money. They changed the rules, right? Just so their candidate, they fucked over Yang, they fucked over Tulsi, the DNC, they fucked over Marianne Williamson, Mike Gravel, Tom Steyer had to, wait a couple debates. He had to stand out a couple debates because he didn't get all those donations. And now, because we got a $70 billionaire, this richer than fucking God piece of shit, plutocrat oligarch, this ass fucking hole. You got some rich asshole in there, so now we're going to change the fucking rules. Tom Perez has hypocritically changed, he said he wasn't going to change the rules, and then he says that he is changing the rules. So now it's just about delegates and polls. It has nothing to do with donations. Donations fucked Tulsi. Donations fucked Yang. You know, they were able to get the donations to get in enough. The polls fucked them too. And Mike Gravel, they were fucked because they had to spend all that time and effort in order to get all those donations from the 20 different states, 20,000 donations from 20 different states. Bloomberg don't even have to do that shit. Right? Oh, he's fucking rich as fuck. Come on in, Mr. Rich. Fucking, hey, there's a rich asshole here. Well, let him in. What are you doing? Get out of the way. Offer him your coat. Did you give him something to drink? Did you make sure he was comfortable? What the hell is wrong with you? February 18th is the deadline for the Nevada debate. So one day, he's got up till one day to get into the Nevada debate with the polls, and one day up until the South Carolina debate to get into it. Or 2 more polls, apparently. He's got 2 days left for the Wednesday debate, and 2 more polls. I don't know. South Carolina, the DNC, ask the DNC for the specifics, but Bloomberg is close for getting into both. Tom Steyer hasn't qualified for either debate either, so Tom Steyer might not even show. He only polled 11% in one poll nationally. He needs 3 more 10% or plus polls, so we might not see Tom Steyer, which is disappointing to me because I like progressives. There's a shit ton of neoliberals, and so the fact that Tom Steyer is progressive somewhat, Tulsi Gabbard is progressive somewhat, these are the last of the progressives. And so I have mixed feelings when it comes to whether or not they should stay in there, just let Bernie win all those delegates, step out, and then just endorse Bernie. I think you should do it both ways. Go halfway through. That would maximize your power. Go halfway through. Get all those delegates. Get, with the intention of giving them all to Bernie. But at the time, you get to speak about your issues and get your, constituents recognized, the people that support you and the arguments and the issues and policies that you stand for. So yeah, the DNC scrapped the donations threshold, fucked over Tulsi, Yang, Marianne, Tom Steyer, Mike Gravel. Mike Gravel is the left flank that we need. He's not even Mike Gravel. I mean, Mike Gravel's radical as fuck. But Bernie Sanders is more conservative than Mike Gravel, more conservative than Eugene Debs, more conservative than Lenin and Trotsky and all those Bolsheviks. He's more conservative than FDR. He's to the right of FDR, to the left of Eisenhower. So if you've watched this far in the video, and we'll just actually talk about different news that I found in South Carolina, just random shit about South Carolina, so that way if you are a Bernie supporter, you'll know something about South Carolina. You'll know something about South Carolina if you're trying to convince somebody from South Carolina. Maybe you could say, hey, I heard that you guys are poor and backwards and rural, and you don't have no teeth, and you can't, you don't wear shoes. And they are kind of that way. And then South Carolina is a ruby red state, right? So it's a Republican state. So why are we even asking the fucking Democrats of a ruby red state, what they think who should be the next president? This primary, God, I'm glad people are scrutinizing this shit because it doesn't make sense how we, operate with a lot of the things. Our elections. We don't even know what we're doing when it comes to our elections. There is some tragedy in South Carolina. One report had said there was a 6-year-old girl who is linked to a dead 30-year-old man found next door to where her body was found. So it looks like Cody Scott Taylor had killed the girl, Faye Marie Sweatlick. The police are offering very little information, so it's really mostly speculation. But you had this 30-year-old who's found dead, so apparently he killed the 6-year-old girl, then killed himself. And, what the fuck? Why? What the fuck did he do? Cody Scott Taylor was found dead in his home in Piccadilly Square, less than 500 feet from where the 6-year-old Faye lived at 602 Piccadilly Square. Faye was found dead in the woods near her home, body found very soon after her death. And Cody was unknown to the police. Cody Scott Taylor was unknown. He had no criminal record. He was a general manager of a wing stop in West Columbia. So they had interviewed him, found something in his trash can, found her, went back, and then he's dead. So did he kill himself? Was he murdered? Did someone kill him? what the fuck happened, right? So did he? I mean, you're leaving it to the imagination, to the speculation and imagination of people when you don't, aren't forthcoming with information. So the goddamn police need to tell the public what the fuck they know and what they don't know with this case. And what an awful thing to happen. This is South Carolina. There's people that are getting murdered. And also, when it comes to, gun control, I know it's a side note, but, like, how did he was it with a weapon? Did he assault weapon? So they have to deal with the murder. They have to deal with this tragedy. 33-year-old Tamel Nash killed 21-year-old Sabrina Lowry. And the fetus of the baby Sabrina was carrying was killed, too, and himself. So apparently, 33-year-old Tamel Nash wasn't a resident of Lowry's place, but he's going to kill 21-year-old Sabrina Lowry, the fetus of the baby. So it looks like kind of a murder-suicide kind of thing. Maybe she was pregnant with some other guys. Baby, what the fuck is going on? All you have is 3 dead bodies in, an apartment or a house. So more murder, more death, more bloodshed, and just senseless. You want some explanation, you want some reason. But even if you know the explanation, what if it was just senselessness, right? Just a savage, barbaric act out of, whatever reason. Does that help? It doesn't help. The people are dead, and, that doesn't help to bring them back. So, it's, I don't know. They have to deal with tragedy. So, R.I.P. I think you can remember the dead to the dead. When you say the name of the dead to the earth are still alive, so you can remember the legacies of Sabrina Lowry. Who was Sabrina Lowry? What was Sabrina Lowry about? Talk to her about the stories and the videos and the pictures, and you got to bring Sabrina Lowry back to life. Say Sabrina Lowry's name. Sabrina Lowry, and also bring up Faye Marie Sweatlick. So Faye Marie Sweatlick and Sabrina Lowry were taken off this earth. They were killed. They're going to be forever young. And justice is eye for an eye. So they, Cody Scott Taylor's dead already. So in a way, it's just a senseless, insane tragedy. And you don't have anybody that you can point to and get mad at and, rip them to shreds because the guy's already dead. And then 21-year-old Sabrina Lowry, same thing, same deal. So these murder-suicides, like what the fuck do you... And, yeah, people are going through some shit. They're going through some pain. And, anyways, so that's happening in South Carolina. So just be sensitive to South Carolinians for that. Some good news. North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, through the DNA, the police are able to find out who the murderer of somebody was, but he died in a Louisiana prison a long time ago, 10 years ago. So there's another woman, Sean Marie Neal, 23, was found strangled in her North Myrtle Beach condo in 1996, June 2nd, 1996. No arrests were made. They never got anywhere in the case. They checked the DNA, and it matched Ronald Lee Moore. Ronald Lee Moore is a serial burglar from Baltimore County, Maryland, and matched his DNA. He dies in 2008, but he was also named a suspect in the 1999 death of Annalise Hyang Suk Lee in Baltimore. So this Ronald Moore Lee is stealing from everybody. He's killing everybody, and they matched the DNA. They think that they finally know who killed Sean Marie Neal. So, I mean, do you get closure with that? I guess probably so, right? I guess the immediate reaction is, fuck that person. You just did what? Fuck that person. They need to be apprehended, put in jail. A trial needs to happen. And should they spend life in prison or the death penalty, I think, is ultimately, that's the criminal justice system. And that's the way it, ought to work. So Ronald Lee Moore, right, we found out that he was responsible for Sean Marie Neal, 23, right? Sean Marie Neal is going to be forever young, too, just like Sabrina Lowry and just like Faye something. Faye Marie Sweatlick. So, 6 years old, that's, God, 23 years old, 21 years old. These are a lot of young females that are getting killed. So, yeah, I guess there's some closure there because it's like, okay, now you know who did it. He's already dead, so the criminal justice system failed to apprehend them in his lifetime, but eventually they caught a hold of him later on in Louisiana, and he's going to die there. So, Andy Brack, some columnist from South Carolina, was like, "Welcome to South Carolina." He said that they're nearly last in every statistical national ranking in the U.S. So it sounds just like West Virginia, Kentucky, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee. South Carolina is the Palmetto State. There's 5 million Americans there, but there isn't a city in South Carolina that's not greater than 150,000. So the biggest city is 150,000. Blacks are not pro-gay. They're very conservative. So black folks aren't too hip to be square with the homosexual. South Carolina is a red state, therefore the weaker blue state of themselves are being highlighted. Elizabeth Warren visited Bertha's Kitchen. It's a black-owned soul food kitchen in a city that's 46% black. 2016, 61% of the Democratic primary were black voters, so the majority of South Carolina voters are black. So basically they're asking the black people of South Carolina what's up. 61% of the black folks are going to do what, and then the 39% of everybody else is going to do what. Black folks owned South Carolina during Reconstruction. They voted on the new Constitution, so they own the Constituent Assembly, the new Constitutional Assembly, which is just how America was created, right? Just had a Constitutional Assembly, not once but twice, and bam, wham, bam, thinking, man, now you got yourself a United States of America. Liz Warren has 8% support of the South Carolinian blacks. Black folks, black power, black pride. Black is beautiful. So, but you know, they're all pandering, or is this genuine, right? How can you tell? But she goes to Bertha's Kitchen, so you know she's getting down with the black folks of South Carolina. She has cut $500,000 of TV ads for South Carolina, and Tom Steyer has banked his entire presidency on South Carolina. He's actually got polled 24%. Tom Steyer is second place. I think it's Joe, Tom Steyer, then Bernie. Tom Steyer, I hope he does take South Carolina. I hope he gets it. I hope Bernie gets, you know, all the other states, but there's, you know, a lot of people act like that there's only 2 lanes. I don't think that there's only 2 lanes. I think there's you know, they say it's establishment, anti-establishment. I think there's 4 lanes. I think you got, you know, right wing, left wing, center right, center left. That's how the American mindset works. And so, therefore, I saw in Pueblo, Colorado, they had mayor. I thought it was establishment and, you know, anti-establishment. No, it was establishment and establishment. They got the 2 highest votes. So there's 2 lanes for 2 establishments, so there's 2 lanes for anti-establishment. So I think there's 4 lanes total, and just like what I just said. So Tom Steyer, there's a lane for Tom Steyer. There was also a lane for Pete Buttigieg. I think there's only a lane for Bernie and Pete right now. That is what Iowa and New Hampshire is telling everybody, right? And Bernie Sanders is, you know, capitalizing like, you know, like a Liz Warren kind of capitalist. So, yeah, that's some South Carolina news, right? So it's very conservative. They're not doing good when it comes to poverty, education, healthcare. They're on the bottom, right? Every statistical national ranking. They're just, you know, scraping the bottom of the barrel of South Carolina. And they have, you know, tragedy, murders, and killings and bloodshed that they have to deal with on top of, you know, just poverty and capitalism and police brutality and, God, there's a lot of shit to be worried about in there. Anyways. Peace.